Good evening, human population.
Oh. You sure they're all human?
Well, you know what? I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that.
Because I know some of Mancini's maniacs and, some of my constituents are
I could tell
probably
you
less than human, but
listen,
but I love them just the same.
I can tell you that
Roman nation.
We'll get to that later after I get this off my chest. I could tell you that the guy who went to jail until he's 118 years old for killing his 5-year-old daughter, that is not a human.
No.
But I started off that word with a reason. Roma, knowing you 40 years, it's quite different as a kid, totally different as a man, totally different as a growing elderly man.
Wow.
Meaning,
Wow.
I'm not going to bury my head in the sand.
How about an older man?
An older man.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
I am not. If one thing I learned from the Roman does not, never will bury his head in the sand. Roma has always said, listen, if you got a problem, come and talk to me about it. You know what I mean? Either it's going to work out good or it's not. But you know what? Unfortunately, we didn't have the show last week, or I would have addressed it last week. But I don't want to. Certainly, I could do a whole hour on this, but I don't want to do that because we have so much to go over. But it is important that I do go over it. A couple of weeks ago, I saw a meme on Facebook that I thought was funny, and I reposted it. And within a matter of 7 minutes, it came down and it was deleted and it was gone. And it referred to a daughter going into a bathroom followed by a man who identified himself as a woman, and the guy's teeth got knocked out, and the father identified himself as the tooth fairy. Now, listen, it's not fair. It's not fair, and I'm not saying it's not fair to me. It's not fair to the people that got angry because they don't know me. You know me, so I thought just that word "tooth fairy." Just for the guy to say, yeah, I'm the tooth fairy, I thought it was funny, really negating what it really meant to the transgender community. I just want to lay a foundation that I appreciate every fan that I have. I appreciate every fan of the Hey Roma podcast, all our fans at Paradise Alley, my friends, my family. I am here to say right now that at times, I am a human, and at times I can be an asshole. So let me lay the foundation for that asshole.
Yeah, lay that foundation. It's going to be interesting.
The lawyer that has worked here since 1997, he got married in 2002, and I was in his wedding party. And there were about 150 people in the church. And it came time for Joe and Lauren to douse out the candles, and Joe's future mother-in-law in about 5 minutes brought up the unity candle. She got her toe caught and did a face bump right at the altar. You had to go up one step. She got her toe caught. There was only one person bellowing in that entire church, one, and it was me. And I was like laughing so hard I couldn't breathe, right? And there were people that wanted to laugh. There were people that were beat red with tears in their eyes, but they wouldn't dare. So when I was in the reception line and people came out that knew me and shook my hand coming out because I'm in the wedding party, they're shaking everybody's hand before me, and then they get to me and they go, asshole, asshole. And I'm like, I know. So now we were fortunate enough to have a wrestler named Big Jim Anderson, who unfortunately he passed away. Prior to him passing away, his father passed away, and it was all the way in Danbury, an hour and 10 minutes away. And you know me, I'm late to everything. So I got there a little late, and they were singing. The choir was singing and everything, and Perez was there, our partner at Paradise Alley.
Oh boy!
I sat next to Perez.
Here it comes.
And it was like 30 minutes. I'm like, wow, it was a different kind of church. I forgot what kind of Orthodox church it was. But I'm like, wow, they can really sing, huh? And Perez doesn't say 2 words. He's just looking down at the program, nodding his head. So the priest comes and he starts the service. And I just want everybody to understand where my brain is, the way my brain
strap
works,
yourself in.
because you know how my brain works, and the people that know me know how my brain works. But other people could say, what an asshole. So the priest comes up and he's like, I want to thank everyone. And I look over at Perez and I go, oh. Did he speak before they started singing? And he went, uh-huh. I go, you didn't give me a heads up. I go, I have to leave. I have to go. I'm not going to make it. He goes, you leave, I'll kill you. I said, Perez, I'm not going to make it. I'm not now. Was it the priest? Necessarily, no. My brain went right to my cousin Vinny. That's where my brain went when I was going to laugh. It went right to my cousin Vinny. Ralph Macchio's friend there, thinking that Vincent Gambini's a total screw-up lawyer, and he wants to go with the public defender. He's going to make out better. He's a normal guy, educated, passed the bar the first time. He's got the nice suit on, and he goes to make his opening statement. And he starts stuttering, and all of a sudden you see Ralph Macchio's friend go, and that's what's funny, and that's what hit my brain, and that's what made me almost lose. But God bless Big Jim, may he rest in peace. The reception was downstairs, and he goes, hey boss, you want a Diet Coke? I said, but that'd be nice, thank you. And he goes, hey, thanks for keeping it together, man. I know it was hard. So obviously Big Jim knew me.
He knew
me. So I'm just kind of hoping that, the Hey Roma community could look and go, hey, Mario, we all could be assholes sometimes. However, in 1982, I worked at this restaurant in Milford, and that's when I met Mark. So I've known Mark 42 years, and I totally offended him badly with that Facebook post, and he inboxed me, and I think he feared that I wasn't the kid that he remembered. Now, mind you, I've bumped into Mark a couple of times, and I think the last time I bumped into him was at Cumberland Farms in Stratford. And, he inboxed me, and he just wasn't happy. He was disappointed. And I'm like, Mark, you know me. I'm not like that. You know what I mean? That's not what I meant by it. He's like, yeah, but you don't understand the abuse and the hatred and everything. I go, I do understand, and I'll explain that to everybody in a minute, which is very personal to me. But the thing, when I was 16, and I worked at that restaurant with my best friend Dave, who has passed away at the age of 26, you wanted to be Mark. Mark, you wanted to be him for a day, preferably a Saturday or Sunday. He had this golden brown blonde hair. He had this blonde hair. He had that white shirt, collar up, going underneath the hair in the back of his head. He had those white pleated, they looked like balloon pants, but they were really
like the Navy wears.
Nice material. He had shoes on that my Fred Flintstone feet couldn't fit. And one night he walked by me in the kitchen, and I ran up to him. I said, hey, man, what are you wearing? He's like, that's polo. The minute I saved enough money, I ran to G Fox. Yes, people, G Fox. I ran to G Fox, and I bought that green bottle of polo as soon as I could, because that's what Mark wore, because Mark was the Polish pony. And he was an exotic adult dancer. That's better than a stripper, right?
Yeah,
sounds better than a stripper.
Man, I thought he was an executive just now.
No, man. Huh. He was an entertainer. Huh. He's still an entertainer, and I felt really bad. I couldn't wait for the show so I can get it off my chest. But Mark knows I'm still that same kid, because I have very few people in my life like Mark, aside from my family. and the people I went to high school. Mark doesn't know Mario Mancini. He doesn't know of Mario Mancini. He knows pre-Mario Mancini. So
is it safe to say that Mark has transitioned?
Mark has transitioned, and the thing with Mark, though, along with transitioning, you never ever forget this. He's an entertainer. He always was, and he always will be. He is show business. He is Dirty Dixie Normus, and he puts on drag shows, and he puts on an all drag review.
Well, let me ask you something. Let me come over the top for some of our other listeners,
Yeah.
okay? So he got upset with you, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Well, at the same time, why doesn't he have an open mind?
Well, you know what? I think
I mean, you have a right to your own opinion, correct? And your own beliefs, correct?
The thing is that's just the thing. And Mark and John, Patrick Trotsky, who I spoke to today in length, you know, what they're concerned with is what African Americans are concerned about, with Italian Americans, with Jewish people, the discrimination and the hatred. That's all they're concerned about. Certainly, if I looked at Mark and said, "Hey, man, that's your thing, but not mine," he'd go, "Oh, I understand." You know what I mean? So,
I mean, but that's all you were really saying,
well,
right?
well,
I found it hysterical.
Well, because you probably thought like me, like you saw the Tooth Fairy, and he said, "Yeah."
Well, again,
funny.
I saw someone that didn't belong in a woman's bathroom.
Yeah.
That's what I saw.
Yeah.
And I saw a concerned father protecting his child.
Well,
that's what I saw.
I think the context, the problem with that was, which I told John today, went over my head, and it shouldn't have. You know, Lord knows it took me 5 times to pass the bar exam, but it shouldn't have went over my head. But the daughter looked under 18, and that wasn't cool. And that was one of Mark's things too. He said, "Hey, man, that looks like a pedophile. You know, makes us look like pedophiles." And I get that. Nobody wants to look like a pedophile,
right?
You know what I mean?
Well, listen, if you're going to go into a woman's bathroom and whoop it out,
well, it's just,
then you belong in the men's bathroom. That's how I see it.
It was just it was just.
I think, Mark, you need to line up, Mark.
No, it's just a meme.
You know,
but
it
was the wrong thing to post.
Well,
But my point is this: this guy, he's my friend.
No, and I understand that. And you know what? I think you're doing right. You're trying to make him understand.
Well, no, he does understand. And the love is still there. And I just want to give him a plug. That's Saturday on May 18th.
Okay.
The doors open up at 8, showtime's at 9, $25, advanced ticket sales, $30 at the door, 127 Center Street, Shelton, Connecticut. He's going to have Crystal Stars there, Klitz Jenner, Maddie Trish, Bleach, and Dolling. If you want more information, you go on Dixie Normus Official on Instagram. So that's for my human Mark there. And let me get to the human. So, it's fun. I spoke to John Patrick today and Trotsky, and
who is John?
Well, let me tell you something. John was a head trainer for Office School. Which says a lot.
Right.
For Pops to give him that position has to say a lot about him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he's familiar with all the Simones. Had a long talk with him. He's very knowledgeable. He knows a lot about pro wrestling.
You're not going to go and tell me he's a transgender now.
He is.
Okay.
He is. He was one of the.
Just throwing it out there. Lucky guess.
Again, he was. Not he.
What? Yeah, tell me what.
Well, that's what he taught me.
Tell me
Human.
What?
That's what he taught me. Human.
No,
human.
I understand. I understand.
So it's like, I spoke to John, and we had a long talk, and I think Mark knows because he lives locally, and I think he knew back then. But John, I felt bad with John because I can tell. Even after I took it down, John just wanted to rip into me very badly. But
why?
Because it was offensive, but
people got to get got to bend a little bit,
Roma,
right?
No, nobody's. It's not about that. We're in present times. Times
Well,
are changing.
what about our feelings?
Times are changing.
What about our feelings?
Our
feelings don't count.
Well, listen. It probably in another scenario they pretty much would, but just to post a meme to send a message, it's kind of, it's not a gray area. It's people could construe it as hateful or discriminatory. So I spoke to John, and what made me feel bad with John is he started off with, I know who you are and I respect what you've done. And I think the fact that I am Mario Mancini kind of held him back a little bit to what he really wanted to say, which I appreciate the respect from him. Now here's the personal side of it. I had told John, and after I told him this, he must have said to himself, yeah, what he posted doesn't make sense. Like, I have a nephew that committed suicide in 2010 because he became transgender on Facebook, and in 14 years ago, it really wasn't acceptable whatsoever.
Really heated back then.
Bad. So he took an entire bottle of Excedrin, 100 of them, and he killed himself. And 4 months later, because it was my brother's only son, although my brother was sick, he could have lived longer, but by the evidence, it was evident that he killed himself. So, I had, I explained that we had Aubrey at the wrestling school. We ran a fundraiser for the LGBTQ.
We did. And we were actually, what caused that.
And I explained to him what
was a
that.
really bad misunderstanding.
Right, and I told him I was sitting there at midnight, and I told him the story today, and I go, and Roma texted me, and he said, we got a big problem.
Right.
And I'm like,
and we didn't do anything. We didn't cause the problem.
Right. What's the big problem? And you had screenshotted me that, this particular person that was at the time at Paradise Alley, as a student, said that, all transgender people should be.
Oh yeah, I wanted to shoot that little kid or
gassed in
stab
the room
him or something like it was bad.
Gassed in a room, and
right.
that's I had John laughing because I had to go into the thread and say, as owner of Paradise Alley and its affiliates and associates don't condone the statements of this person, and as of now, immediately out of Paradise Alley. And she had inboxed me and said, F you fat F, and I hope you choke on your chin fat while you're sleeping. And that's when I called you and I said, I'm a little nervous about going to sleep, Roma. Could that really happen? And you said, I think you're okay. And I was on the phone with you, and I was grabbing my chin going, are you sure I'm not going to die in my sleep? She said I can die in my chin fat. So at that point, we ran a show for the LGBTQ.
Right.
And
just to show that we weren't what these people were making us out to be.
And that's all I'm trying to do, Roma, because I that post it made me out to somebody that I'm not. But I spoke to John Patrick Trotsky today, and he owns Sanctuary Wrestling, Sanctuary Drag Show in Hazleton, PA, Sanctuary Stunt Studios. If you want to find out about him, he's at sanctuarystuntstudio.com. And he was saying, hey, can you call me so we can speak human to human? And I thought that was pretty clever because, today's day and age, it's he, she, or they. And this is a highly educated guy, teaches at Penn State. And he's like, when I enter a classroom, I say, good evening, humans, how are you? And I go, you know what? That really beats it all. That really puts everything to bed on who's who and what's what. And what they are, if you just say, that's why I opened up the show like that. Because
also when you get on and you talk right to that person,
right,
there's nothing left open for interpretation, right?
Right.
So you clear the air. Hopefully you did. It sounds like you did.
I did. I did, and I feel a lot better that I was able to do it.
I'm glad you feel better.
On this kind
I'm glad you feel better.
on this kind of forum. And wow, Ric Flair's an asshole.
Wow. Yeah. We want to go there.
Let's go there.
Let's
Gabe.
go there. So we're going to put up a video now. You guys are going to listen to this. Listen to a little altercation that he had at a restaurant. My understanding was it's a pretty fine restaurant. Listen to this and see what you think. We'll jump on it. And we'll take some questions. I guess when you're somebody his magnitude, Ric Flair, 97-time world champion.
Well, we're going to talk about that magnitude, and I'm going to make a comparison.
Let them get a good dose of what went down. Glad this was recorded for people to see that. A lot of people may think that, I'm hard on people or I'm jealous of other wrestlers.
No, but believe me, I have a comparison in my head.
And that's not the case. And that's not the case at all. What I say is what I witnessed and to be the truth.
Right.
And again, we welcome any listener. We welcome any person we're talking about, speaking of, to come on the show. More than happy to talk.
I didn't do one thing wrong. I want to do better. You're a kid in high classes. Really? What world do you live in? How does that cost them? I never said a cuss word. Is that as worthy as yours? I didn't say one cuss word. No, ma'am, I'm going to give you $1,000 just to say, to kiss my ass. If you walk outside here, I know. You're tell me to leave.
So there you have it, everybody. You heard it for yourself. I was interjecting a little bit there as to what was being said. So here's a person that I've spoken about. I've worked with him, alongside of him, against him. I've said many things about him. There you have firsthand proof, evidence, if you will, that I'm not picking on this guy. This guy goes out and thinks that he can say whatever he wants, do whatever he wants to whomever he wants. And throwing somebody $1,000 tip, which he probably would have called his credit card company and told them that it was a mistake after the fact, which you can do, and they won't pay it out. He thought he could buy these people off. And at the end of the day, you heard it. Just get out. You're a piece of shit. Get out. We don't want your $1,000. You can't buy us off. And I'm glad it was recorded because, again, I get people to fire back at me and say, well, you're jealous of this guy, or maybe, it's not the truth about how this guy was. What does this tell you now? Right? What does it tell you?
Well, born February 25th, 1949, Mr. 75-year-old Ric Flair. But I'm just going to give a comparison. It's like when I was talking to John and I told him that you were my partner in Paradise Alley and we have this podcast, and he goes, wow, he was really good. I mean, you were a gifted athlete and you're good. But let me just give you a difference. Ladies and gentlemen, humans,
Humans. I like that. I'm going to start using that.
Humans. If
Humans.
you meet, here's a comparison. If you meet Paul Roma at a wrestling convention and you go up to him and go, "Hey, how you doing? You know, how are you? I'd like to get an autographed picture, maybe a picture with you." He goes, "Sure." And you take a picture with Roma and you look at him, I don't know, and say, "Gee, I'm surprised you didn't go into professional bodybuilding." And I'm sitting at the table next to Roma's table, and it's like, I don't know, let's say it's 1:30. 2:15, Roma's still talking to the same guy. The guy's moving out of the way while Roma signs other autograph. Roma will pick up the conversation with the guy again. I mean, he will talk to everybody. He will spend time with everybody. He's just a regular guy. Roma's just a regular. He doesn't believe in the hype. You know what I mean? And he didn't get into professional wrestling for hype in the first place. Ric Flair believes in Ric Flair. Ric Flair, what I'm trying to say is Roma doesn't have a sense of entitlement. Ric Flair has a sense of entitlement. He believes his own hype. Because he's Ric Flair, he thinks he can get away with things. He thinks he can call people names. But that guy at the end of the bar, when he kept saying to the bartender, "You want to go outside? You want to go outside?" The guy to the side of him goes, "I'll go outside with you. I'll go outside with you right now." Flair didn't say a damn thing.
Right.
Because he knows that guy would have kicked his ass.
Right.
And that guy would have got arrested for assaulting a senior citizen.
And that too.
And that's a felony. So the thing about it, it's just like him taking his dick out on the airplane to the flight attendant.
Yeah.
Flair thinks the rules don't apply to him.
Correct.
Because he's Ric Flair.
Well, everybody treats him that way too.
You know
AEW treats him that way.
But Roman, listen to me. When you are inside the wrestling business, whether you're at a wrestling show or a wrestling convention, a wrestling award show, once you're in your element, it's okay to be revered and respected and even have people kiss your ass. You know, I've seen plenty of people come up to you and go, "Oh my God, it's Paul Roma." People have come up to my table. I'll never forget the guy who came up to my table and just stared at me and smiled. It creeped me out. I'm like, he just stared at me and smiled, and I'm smiling.
You sure that wasn't our producer?
I'm smiling back at him, and eventually I went, "How you doing?" And he goes, I went, "Yeah, how you doing?" And he goes, "My brother and I used to wrestle back in the 80s. We were like 10, 11 years old." I'm like, "Yeah." Because I was always Mario Mancini, and I'm going to tell you what. I won every match. I made sure I did. I beat him every time because you lost every match. I go, "Well, I really appreciate that." So there's people out there, but you're inside the wrestling business in some way, shape, or form, and you're getting your respect and you're getting revered. Once you step outside that realm, there's people out there that don't know who Ric Flair is.
Right.
Can't recognize who Ric Flair is.
Right.
And don't give a shit about Ric Flair.
Absolutely correct, sir.
Unless you're inside the realm of professional
And
wrestling.
they're ready to take you outside and give you the ass whooping of your life because you don't mean anything to them.
No. Roma, we pride ourselves. Like when we went to that Tommy Fierro's place, that memorabilia place and sports card.
Right.
When we together, when we do things like that, our goal is when we leave, everybody looks at themselves and goes, "Wow, those are nice guys."
Yeah.
What I because of alcohol, which we never did, we never drank.
No.
Because of alcohol, Ric Flair has turned in what he's turned into. So that is unfortunately. The use of alcohol, makes him very belligerent.
But here's another side that I look at. Okay, so in his mind, he's beaten thousands of guys. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. he starts believing this. I think he truly believed that he actually beat these guys. So when he goes out and he plays that role, he doesn't think anyone's going to come over the top and challenge him. When this guy challenged him, he just ignored him because he knew now reality set in.
It's going to be a shoot.
I'm about ready to get my ass handed to me. That's right. So I'm going to avoid this dude who wants to beat me up, and I'm just going to keep talking to the guy who doesn't want to fight with me.
Yeah.
You know? And then I'm going to say, oh, here's $1,000 tip.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're trying to buy your way out of being an asshole for $1,000. You know, it doesn't come that cheap to do that. And again, everybody, you know, that listens to our show and has listened to our show, now they can see for themselves and hear for themselves. It's not me making stuff up about this guy. This guy is who he is. This is reality. He's beat so many people, but only because they let him win.
Yeah.
That he started believing his own horse crap.
That he actually beat people.
That he actually won. You know, everybody says, well, he won 60 titles. He had to lose 60 times in order to win 60 times.
They forget the part in the dressing room when we look at the promoter or the agent and we go, who's over? Oh, he's over in 14 minutes.
Right.
You know what I mean? That means you're losing or you're over in 14 minutes.
Correct.
Nobody's beating anybody.
No. I only win because you let me win.
You let me win, right. So
otherwise it'd be MMA.
Right. So, you know, Flair just has no respect.
None. He believes his own bullshit.
Yeah, I mean,
that he's lived his entire life.
I mean, he's 75 years old, and
he can't even move, dude. When he comes into the ring, they have to turn the camera away from him. It takes him 15 minutes to climb 3 or 4 steps to get into the ring.
Yeah.
I mean, stop already, okay? Enough. Yeah. AEW, enough with him. Let it go.
Yeah.
You guys are just dragging out even more and more, and you're creating even a worse monster. Because when his brain does function properly, he starts buying into all the bullshit again.
One more elbow drop and his liver will fall out.
Oh my Lord! His whole body will turn to dust.
Well, listen, he's lucky to be alive. I mean, I can't believe his body oxidized that much alcohol.
Listen, I think that he should get down and on his knees and thank God. The only problem is I think he's worried he'll never get back up.
Well, yeah. You know, Roma, it just amazes me that when something like that breaks out at a restaurant and he doesn't stop himself and say, oh, what am I doing? And look at those people and go, hey, I'm sorry I got upset. I apologize. It would have diffused everything. And,
correct.
And
but he's Ric Flair. He doesn't
Flair.
have to apologize. Oh, yeah. Come on, man. I mean, think about it. He's held that belt how many times?
Yeah.
He doesn't apologize to anybody. He doesn't owe anybody anything.
He's a dick.
He's the man, right?
He's a dick.
God, what is it? In order to be the man, you got to beat the man. Well, I'll tell you what, that dude at the end of the bar is ready to whoop up on your ass and beat the man. But you did the thing that you do best. You know what you did? You chicken shit out. Just like when I challenged you, you chicken shit out. You said a bunch of different things on different podcasts about me, not like directly, but you avoided the one question.
Right.
Right? You kept putting me down, but you won't face me. You know why? Because you're worried about what the promoter's going to do and say. Are they going to put me over because I'm younger, better looking, better body? I can still go. I can still walk up the ropes backwards and drop that massive elbow? Or are they going to put you over? What's that going to cost you? More than $1,000, Rick. Quite a bit more. So this match is never going to happen. I understand that. Okay? Unless I'm at a restaurant or a bar and you open your mouth. And then we'll have it right then and there. It's probably going to be, I don't know, what do you call it? 6-7 second match. Once you're done talking.
Bro, I thought you were going to use your famous line, a minute steak.
What, a minute steak? Yeah. But you know, he's going to try and talk his way out of it. He's going to hope somebody intervenes to make sure it doesn't happen. I get all that. But you know what? there's a time, especially you're what, 86, 96 years old, whatever you are right now, right? You're about ready to turn to dust if you take another bump, and I get that. But at the end of the day, you're going to learn respect. Somebody, I know it's not going to be me because that match is never going to happen, but somebody is going to teach you respect.
Sorry. I yawned.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. So,
But
that being said,
do you notice how Roma's biceps still pop when he explains stuff like that?
listen, many moons. I haven't been that big anymore. But you want to finish up on this guy?
Well,
he's taking up a lot of our time. I don't think he's worth our time.
He's not worth our time.
And we're taking a lot of time.
Something I would like to mention that I don't think we mentioned last show is Stephen Lee.
Stephen Lee, my man, my brother.
Where are they now?
Where are they now?
Where are they now?
I haven't forgotten, and we have flyers that are being made. Stephen is going to hand them out to a lot of his Marine friends. I got to get them colored and drawn up really nice. I can't send the black and white. You guys deserve more than that. Stephen and I are always in touch. Like I said, we're going to be going down to Arlington National Cemetery for a ceremony. That goes without saying. I just lost my light. Hey, you're okay. That's all right. Don't worry about it. It's all big. It's all good. But yeah, we're going to bring him back on the show, obviously.
We're going to bring Stephen Lee back on the show, but where are they now? In case you guys, I can get your ear with this. It's all about reuniting the military, whether they were in combat together or just served in peacetime and they lost contact with
no matter what corps they served.
No matter where they served in the branch of the military to get them reunited, because guys walking around going, hey, listen, I think of that with guys I went to high school. I'm like, I wonder where they are now. Because you can't find them on Facebook. You can't find them on social media. And you're wondering where the heck they are. Well, that's what.
And if they're okay.
And if they're okay, that's what Where Are They Now is all about, is reuniting our military, our first responders, whether it's police, firefighters, military, the corrections officers, anybody who serves the community and defended our great nation. We're trying to get them reunited. So I wanted to make sure we covered our
right.
Stephen
Lee. They didn't have to go to war.
Right.
You know,
right.
They served.
Our Stephen Lee segment there.
Yes. We haven't forgotten you, Stephen. Never going to happen.
Well, no. So, Roma, something interesting on the Merritt Parkway, although I got too many phone calls. I think we are quite enjoying a segment. This is my Tucker Carlson segment.
Okay.
Where Tucker was giving us some pretty big philosophies on life. And being fearless and family values, and he was really hitting a lot of big stuff there. Like I said, we didn't get to finish the whole thing.
Well, we had a call come in, right?
Meathead there. So,
yeah.
He kept calling. He kept calling over and over and over
listen,
again.
We're not going to tell you who that is, but I know he knows who it is.
Yeah, so over and over and over again, and we couldn't finish what Tucker was up to. But listen to Tucker every morning. So I really, he's not a work. I could tell a work. He's not a work. He's just one of those guys that comes on, and he might give his philosophies, but more importantly to me, he tells you the truth.
And he cares.
And oh my God, does he care?
He cares about this country.
Oh my God, does he care? So.
Should have more people like that, that are newscasters.
I'm surprised Tucker Carlson
speaking to the public like he does.
I'm surprised he doesn't run for president, really.
He's not well liked. Not by the other side, that is.
Well, at this point, I don't think he has sides at this point because, he's just, who he is. He talks to CIA. What's really interesting, he talks to CIA guys from the 60s, and they're talking about the Bay of Pigs, and they're talking about the Kennedy assassination, And in the CIA, who's obviously retired, they're like spilling it. Gabe, we lost a light. I don't know if that switch went off on itself, the room switch, but we lost the light. He was talking about this guy was spilling his guts about the 60s and the controversies and JFK and the whole nine yards. I mean, he has some pretty interesting stuff going on. We have some pretty interesting stuff going on tomorrow night as Paradise Alley presents the King of Paradise.
King of Paradise.
At 662 Co Avenue in
Yeah.
East Haven. Bell time 7 o'clock. And Gabe just said, let there be light.
Let there be light.
We
The light's shining on me.
Mr.
Mancini.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
And,
Well, speaking of sports,
yes.
I want to touch on something.
The Boston Bruins?
Well, listen, I'm a big Boston Bruins fan. I've been a Boston Bruins fan for 55 years.
Yeah.
My daughter is a monster Boston Bruins fan.
Monster Boston Bruins fan.
Listen, if I tie her up, she's going to break the ties.
Yeah.
She's just outrageous, good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, she explodes. But what I want to talk about was, so I was watching a Rangers game the other night on ESPN, and the announcers asked, let me finish this one. The announcer asked an official, okay, about a cross-check. If the cross-check was called, was it good? All right, so they called a cross-check on someone, and was it good? Was it a good call? You're asking an official, right? You're ESPN. You have your other two monkeys there, right? So all three of you are sitting there.
Someone calls them monkeys.
Yeah, because they are, right? Do you honestly think that you ask a crook if he stole or if other crooks would steal, do you think he's going to tell you yes? I mean, really, you're ESPN. I understand you're going to ask the question, but ask it to someone who's not going to protect the officials. This guy's a head official, and you're asking him this question. What do you think he says? What do you think he's going to say? He sticks up for the officials. I mean, I sat there, talking to the TV, talking to these guys. They can't hear me. And my daughter's there, and I'm like, do you believe this? This guy's actually asking another crook if they're going to steal. Of course they are. They're going to stick up for one another. You're not going to be a head official and come down and say these guys made a bad call. They've done this numerous times. Why are you wasting the viewers' time? You got to fill in airspace. Is that what you're doing? ESPN, is that what you're doing? Why don't you just talk amongst yourselves and say, hey, listen, here's the deal. This is what we think. Don't bring somebody on that's as crooked as the rest of them, because he's going to stick up for it. He's not going to knock his own officials on what they're doing. Look at they've done, and I'm talking about the Rangers. Let's not even get into the Bruins. You look at the Bruins, they get called if they look at somebody the wrong way. Are you people for real? Like, I turn to my daughter and go, well, they must have their money on the Panthers. And she laughs. I'm like, no, I'm serious. I mean, when you look at all the calls that come out, they're getting called 4-1.
Wow.
I mean, it's horrible.
That's terrible.
The calls that are being made and the embellishment that's going on. I mean, the officials are standing right there. The guy punches the guy. He grabs him by the head, and they throw the Boston guy into the penalty box, and they do nothing to the Panther guy. I mean, nothing happens. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. It's so one-sided. It's sad. It's actually sad, and this is the worst part. You pieces of shit officiating on the ice. Nobody could do a damn thing about you. I am waiting, and I'm hoping this happens, and take the fine. Let the organization pay for this guy. Somebody needs to knock one of these officials out after one of these horrible calls. They're horrific. Am I inciting violence? It may sound that way.
Roma, I'm waiting for you to go, I'm going to wait for you outside the arena.
Dude, let me tell you something. I'm at a lot of their games, okay? I'm at a lot of their games, and it's bad.
Who's this guy waiting for me to
Oh, my God, dude. Are you kidding me? Listen to this. They actually confronted an official. You know, he skated off the ice, didn't want to even hear about it.
Listen,
Didn't want to
I'm
talk
trying
to
to
him.
control myself because people get control myself from laughing because people get ESP and ESPN confused.
Ugh.
Gee, I didn't know you knew that. I got ESPN.
Yeah.
I told you I was an asshole.
No, listen, I just wish that was the case. But now I digress. Let me move on to education. Listen, I got some stuff on my chest. I got to get off my chest.
I did. You should get it off.
Okay. So let's talk about Chicago Public Schools. Holy almighty on this one. All right. They're spending 50 plus, ready?
Yeah.
$1 billion.
Billion, not million. Billion.
Billion.
With a B.
Yes. Billion with a B.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
They have the worst curriculum in all the schools.
Of all the United States.
They're horrible. They want all this money, and what are they doing with it? The kids are uneducated. They're doing nothing but piss the money away.
Must be pocketing it.
Oh, and they think they're doing such a great thing. They're all smiling. They're all happy. And yet, ready? When you think about the education, so 5 being the highest, they're like a 2.5. And we're talking about mathematics, English, or what do you call it now? Social studies, history, you name it. It doesn't matter. These kids are being passed through the system, and you want all this money, and you're not making it any better.
No child left behind.
Oh, they're not left behind. They're pushing them right through. Don't worry about that. They're not left behind. They're pushing them right through.
I'm sure.
And they want more money and more money for what? What are you doing with the funds? And why isn't anybody doing anything about it? Why aren't they where's the checks and balances here?
So the Chicago Board of Education is $50 billion.
That's what they want, and that's what they're looking to get. And they want to give the teachers some monster raise. You teachers don't deserve the raise in Chicago schools. You're not educating the kids. You're passing them through. Give me my paycheck. Give me another raise, and I'll pass even more through for you. Look at their grades. Look at what's going on. They're not even up there. They can't compete with the other states.
Well, where you saw
You're a disgrace. Chicago school system's a disgrace.
Where you saw this, did they give an average GPA of a student like
No.
a 2.6 or 2.
No.
A 2.0 is a straight C. I mean,
let me explain what happens with me. Okay, I try to watch the least amount of news as I can.
Yeah.
I get irate in my home.
I watch a lot of it.
It drives me nuts. I want to jump through the screen because I sit there and say, at the end of the day,
I watch it and listen to it.
our Republicans and Democrats, they always talked about, let's bring them together. We're going to work. Hey, Biden, fall down another flight of stairs. Maybe, you could end your career here. But at the end of the day, you talk about bringing everybody together. Why don't you straighten this out? What is wrong with you people? You're supposed to be here for us, we the people. And all I hear about is them. There's nobody better than anybody else in Washington. They're all a bunch of pieces of shit as far as I'm concerned.
Listen, at this point in this,
and they served our country, most of them. And they're doing nothing, watching our country go down in a blaze of glory.
The thing is, at this time, present day, I think the Democratic Party and the Republican Party has just turned into a cesspool. I don't think people know where to turn anymore. I don't think people know what to think anymore. I just think, Roman, when we were kids, when we were younger, and you got a guy like Walter Cronkite or whatever, you got the news and you got the truth.
Right.
Somewhere along the lines,
They make up their own truths now.
Yeah, somewhere along the lines, the news media became a reality TV show. So it's rough. It's rough to even grasp anything these days. I mean, as Big Daddy doesn't watch. Big Daddy doesn't watch the news. Big Daddy, does a lot of other things.
Yes.
To get his news. He sends it to both of us, Big Daddy, the news that he gets.
Well, look,
So,
at the end of the day, you have George Soros, who's the biggest funder of Black Lives Matter, of any organization that is going to disrupt and ruin the United States of America. All right? That truth be told. That is it. If you people don't know who he is, look him up. And he's bringing up his son to be the same way, to destroy the American dream, because he has an unlimited amount of funds.
wow.
So, that being said, let's take some questions because we're almost done.
I love questions.
I really do. I love our people. I love Roma Nation, and I love Mancini's Maniacs. I really do.
All right, peel back your Twinkies. Bring them.
Question for Paul. How was the reunion of the Young Stallions? I saw it on the
How was the reunion of the Young Stallions? Well, we were both there. It was phenomenal. We had a great turnout. I mean, it was phenomenal. The people were great.
The Young Stallions were the bell of the ball for the 80s con. They
We were.
They were it. They had
We were. It was really nice to see Jim.
It was nice to see Jim.
Yep.
What a gentleman, nice, laid
Yep.
back. Jim's a gem.
Yes,
It was-
and I'm going to have to say this because he's probably watching. Jim, get off the tractor. It's not what you do. Okay, you're a young stallion. Either get in the stall and get ready to run, but get off that tractor, man.
Hey Paul, what year did you cut your mullet?
What year did I cut my mullet? I don't know, man. I think I don't. Actually, my hair got down to the middle of my back, believe it or not, and I wanted to donate it to somebody who didn't have any, and
There's that cancer organization, Locks
yeah,
for Love.
and they started to cut my hair, and I said, no, go all the way up to the shoulders, and from that point on, I just cut it all short, and now I can wake up, roll out of bed, and kind of look like this. Is that a good thing? I don't know. Some people maybe, but yeah.
It's just a comment. I thought it would be. You're not fat, Mario. You're big bone.
Oh, big,
Wow. So somebody just said Mario's not fat. He's big bone.
a big bone.
Yeah. Wow. I'm glad I don't have those big bones in me.
Did either of you ever witness a bad locker room fight?
Did either of us ever witness
Sure.
a bad locker room
Yeah.
fight?
Yeah. Yep.
You want to elaborate on that? Or you just
Listen,
want to say yes?
listen.
I mean, this guy's waiting over here.
Listen, I saw Schultz, although it was supposed to be friendly, it didn't turn nasty, but it was a shoot on the carpet in the dressing room in Poughkeepsie. David Schultz was shooting on Hulk Hogan, and he got on top of him, and he was stretching him.
Really?
Yeah, and these were pre-Roma days, and Hogan was literally on the bottom going because they were so close. He was like, "David, let go, let me go, let me go." He was stretching the hell out of him, David, stop, let me go, let me go. That there was that infamous roll of quarters in.
Another question asking that.
Oh yeah, the roll of quarters in the Rougeau's fist.
Yep.
At the Dynamite Kid there.
Yep.
So, which made me happy because it wasn't exactly a brawl, but, Tommy smacked me a couple times in the dressing room hard. I mean, Davey wanted to talk, but Tommy turned around and whacked me twice. So, you want to call that a locker room brawl? It wasn't a brawl. See, you got to understand in professional wrestling, you got to understand, if Paul Roma gets into a locker room fight with Mario Mancini and kicks the shit out of him, that's okay. That's okay. But if Paul Roma gets into a fight with Randy Savage and kicks the shit out of him, that's not okay. So if
Paul Roman's getting fired.
yeah, if you end up kicking the shit out of a guy that's over more than you and one of the top guys, they're going to get rid of you.
Right.
But God forbid if the top guy beat the shit out of you, well, you just had to suck that up.
Yeah, you had to come into
better
it.
days ahead.
Yeah, it had it coming to you.
Just because it follows up on this nicely. Did Roma or Mario witness the Dynamite Kid and Jaquez Rodriguez?
Yeah, so do we witness it?
No.
I was not there.
I wasn't there either.
Heard all about it,
Yeah.
and definitely he got blindsided by the Rougeos. Again, it changed his life. The Dynamite Kid changed his life getting hit like that. And I heard Pat was the one who set him up.
Did Roma or Mario ever witness Flair going nude on airplanes or bars?
No, not me.
So yes, at a bar, and I'm going to leave it at that. It was in Georgia.
A Flair can get away with murder in Georgia.
Yeah, without a doubt. So, yep, Flair definitely got naked.
Have you ever met or had a match with Bad News Brown?
Yes, I worked with.
Well, we both met Bad News Brown.
Yeah, he's okay.
You worked with him. I didn't work with him.
I worked with Bad. In fact, the match I worked with Bad News Brown was Andre took a sabbatical, and just before our match started, he came out and made the appearance and shook the ref's hand, shook my hand. Of course, Bad News was a heel, so he turned his back on Andre, and then Andre just waved and he left the ring, and Bad News just started kicking his shit at me like everybody else did.
Well, I will tell you this about Bad News, and some people don't know this. He won a bronze in the Olympics for judo.
Wow.
On a broken ankle. He broke his ankle prior to, and still finished that way. Travels with him a lot. He's a very quiet person. If he likes you, he will speak with you. He'll be very happy to shake your hand, which is a beautiful thing. I got along with Bad News, and yeah, I'm sorry that he's gone. Super nice guy.
Are you guys still going to Canada in June?
Are we still going to Canada in June?
Napanee. We're going to Napanee,
Napanee.
on June 29th. Roma and I will be there in Canada.
Yes. I'm going to do a Q&A, I believe, right?
We
Or we both are, right?
We are going to do a Q&A.
Yeah.
And who's coming with us is Nikki Duke, Brad Baylor's coming, Jermaine Marbury's coming,
Yep.
Alan Compass is coming, Scott Wilder's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good show.
At least that's
Very
a
good show.
At least that's
It's buzzing right now.
At least that's a trip that's guaranteed anyway.
Yeah.
Paul, how was it wrestling Kamala? I always heard he was a nice guy.
How was it wrestling Kamala? Wow. Kamala is very easy. He was a soft, touching person, Kamala.
I had to tell him to hit me harder so I could sell.
Yeah, you wouldn't even know he hit you.
You know, those big chops he'd throw, you couldn't feel them. He just barely touched you. I'm like, Jimmy, you got to hit me harder. He's like, what? I'm like, I got to hit me a little harder, man, so I can sell it. If I can't feel it, I can't sell it.
Yeah, Kamala's nice.
Listen,
guy.
guys, we're playing horseshoes. This isn't badminton. It's pro wrestling.
Right.
Fucking hit me.
I'm just warning you on this one.
Here we go.
Super important question. Would you prefer to listen to Kamala Harris speak for 1 hour or to stare at Steve Lombardi in a thong for 5 minutes?
Well, would you rather speak to
that-
Kamala Harris for an hour or stare at Steve Lombardi in a thong?
You know what? That's not a fair question to me because I think Kamala's cute when she smiles. I love her smile. Her eyes light up and everything. I like Kamala. I like her.
He doesn't speak for
So I would sit.
Roman Nation,
I would.
so you know.
I would sit in a room with her for hours.
He's definitely speaking
You know,
for Mancini's Maniacs, people.
I'm not talking about her politically. I'm just talking about her smile.
Oh, my God. Listen, let's get to the next
Then
question.
again-
This guy's
then
out of
again,
control.
As everybody knows, I absolutely think Michelle Obama's gorgeous. So go ahead.
Right. Now he's into men. Anyway.
Is Jim Power still in shape?
Is Jim Power still in shape? Yeah, I mean, he looks good.
Yeah,
he
really good.
looked good.
He looks really
I mean,
looked like me. He looked really good.
No, he was a like me. We're just smaller versions of ourselves now. We don't train the way we used to. We got a lot of injuries, so it's very difficult to try and maintain. But yeah, looks good.
Watches what he eats.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Eats really light.
Yeah, light.
Yeah.
Light.
Yep.
Mario, any thoughts on your upcoming bout for Great North Wrestling?
Mario,
Are you ready?
any thoughts about your great bout coming up for the wrestling show in Canada?
Well, I got to tell you something. Listen, there are a lot of people upset at me for this match. I do love Jack. I don't want to insult anybody, and I don't want to disappoint anybody because I had a retirement match with Flash Waller in the United States, and it was.
But this is Canada.
This is loser never wrestles again for the rest of their lives, and I took my boots off that night, and I put them in the middle of the ring.
I remember
and
that.
I walked away for good. You were the guest referee. We had a nice story there, and I walked away forever.
There's another country.
Flash even kind of looked at me a little sad. I said, Flash, I'll never work one-on-one again, number one. This is a 6-man tag team. I'm going to have limited time in the ring, or I will be in the ring, but it's June 29th in Napanee, Ontario. And the reason why I say it's June 29th is because it's 8 days after my 58th birthday.
Right.
So,
What better way to celebrate?
what do you want from me?
Okay, listen, I'm going to tell you what's going on, all right? I was going to let the cat out of the bag, but I'm going to tell you right now. You've seen where they hang a carrot over a horse's head to keep that horse going because he wants that carrot. I got this guy. Not only do I hang a Twinkie over his head off a stick, I got a Snickers bar hanging over. This guy is going to be in the best shape of his life. He runs after those Snickers bars and those Twinkies like no tomorrow.
Hang a Snickers in front of me, man. You better run for your life.
See that?
But
I got
here's
it.
the
I
thing.
got it going. So you better be there, Napanee.
Napanee. Yep.
Napanee. It sounds Italian.
Yeah.
Oh, Napanee.
Napanee.
Hey.
Listen, it's all over Facebook. Great North Wrestling.
Great
Look
North
under
Wrestling.
Great North Wrestling, and you will see the show.
That's it.
And it's called School's Out. And June 29th, I will be there.
I'll be there.
And Roma will be there. I will wrestle.
With that kid.
I will wrestle.
Snickers.
To what extent? I'll tell you this: you're not going to see me fall down.
I will tell you this: you're going to at least see him make it across that ring one time. What's the next question?
Go ahead.
We're going to close this out.
Okay, we got about 5 left.
Go ahead.
Paul, can you tell the fans who you respect and admire most in today's business?
Can I tell the fans who I respect and admire the most in today's business? Wow. No, I can't.
I can't either.
No. Nobody pops.
I was going to say Steve Austin, but he's not in today's business. But
He's not.
I don't know. I don't know.
And is The Rock really in today's business?
No, I don't respect him either.
Well, I mean, I don't like people that come and go. I don't know if they're in today's business per se.
But Dwayne is
You bring
doing,
him in for one
he's
shot?
doing weird stuff, man, and he's getting a lot of press about it. He's just doing weird things.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I'm not going to even touch on it. I like Dwayne.
I like Dwayne
so
too,
I'm
but
not going to
Jesus,
touch on that.
man. Go ahead.
What else you got?
Did Roma live in Georgia when working for WCW?
Did I live in Georgia when I worked for WCW? I did not. It seemed like I did. I stayed at this hotel. I think it was the Holiday Inn, if I remember right. Because there's no use me flying home. They fly me out. I had to do segments, and then I get 2 days off, and then I have to be back, or in Georgia, whether it's at an arena or whatever the case may be. So most of the time I was in Georgia, but no, I was living in Connecticut at the time.
Have you guys have any interactions with Tom Zenk, Z-E-N-K?
No.
No. Do we have any interaction with Tom Zink? I don't. Do you?
No.
No, I don't even know what he's doing.
No.
Nice guy.
Is Mancini hitting the unsweetened applesauce?
Is Mancini hitting the unsweetened applesauce? And tuna.
Well, listen.
Tuna and applesauce. I believe he is.
Listen, here's the deal.
There's no Snickers.
Even the unsweetened applesauce has too much sugar. So for me, yeah, no, I am hitting the Manjaro though. I'm hitting that. So which is another form of Ozempic, I guess.
Really?
Yeah, boy, these people want a lot out of me, man. I'm telling you.
Listen, all I could say is, all you maniacs out there, I'm keeping the Twinkies away from him, the Snickers
Listen.
bars away from him. I'm trying to watch, but you
Listen.
know what? I'm not with him 24/7, so it's tough.
Listen,
It's
a
tough.
couple of forums and a couple of snap mirrors, and I'm tagging out.
I mean, I went into his house the other day, saw a little bit of chocolate over here. I was a little worried about that.
There was, but it was from an Atkins bar.
Yeah, that's what he tells me.
What's the next question?
Mario Paul, would you guys ever write a book like Dusty Wolf?
Will we ever write a book like Dusty Wolf did?
Actually, I'm gonna listen. I always tell the truth. This is the God's honest truth. It's on my living room floor. I'm gonna do it tonight. I bought a TV table, but it's more like a hospital thing. So it's got a horseshoe bottom because I can't sit on that dining room table too long on that chair because of my back. So the truth of the matter is I bought a TV table with a horseshoe bottom so I can slide it underneath my recliner because I've been working on my screenplay since 2020.
Yes, he has.
And I do have 69 pages of the screenplay done, and I understand that the limit is 120 pages. I can't go over that, which is kind of rough because at this point, I'm at 2001, and I have 23 more years to go, so I got to make sure I keep it at 120 pages. But I am writing a screenplay. It's called It's a Long Way Up, and it's not only about professional wrestling. It's about, when I was a little kid, stuff that happened to me up to the time when I was 14, and I decided I wanted to be a pro wrestler in 1980. Through my wrestling career, and yes, even the day I met Paul Roma, it's about my and it was a struggle. At the end of the movie Blow, he's walking through the prison yard.
Good movie.
And he goes, at the end, my ambition was far more than my brains. And when it came to law school, in particular, and passing the bar, my ambition was far greater than my brains. It was my ambition that got me through it. So it was about my struggle. My 3 marriages are in there. My daughters, my 3 marriages, and the problems I had with those, and it's going to bring it right up to today. So I'm not necessarily writing a book, but I am
It
writing.
could go in that direction.
I am writing a screenplay. It's very difficult to write a screenplay. It's a lot of work because you got to fade in and fade out. And before you can even write lines, man, you got to set up the scene of where you are, what's in the room.
Listen, if this guy could pass the bar,
Anybody could pass it.
if he could pass the bar, then he could write a screenplay.
It's a lot of work writing a screenplay, man, and I want to give it to Happy Madison. I want to give it to Adam Sandler because if you see 70% of Sandler's movies, he's got a reference to professional wrestling in there, and he loves pro wrestling.
He loves pro wrestling.
And
yeah.
and we're the exact
And who
same-
better than him?
We're the exact same age, so I know
Yep.
he knows who I am.
What else? We'll take one more.
Last one. This is the last one.
Last one.
A bunch of people say thank you for answering their questions, and here's the last one. It's nice and easy. What are your guys' favorite food to eat?
What is our favorite food to eat? Well, listen, I'm going to be a smartass. Everything. Go on, man. Answer that. Seriously. Let's get serious.
Asking that question, it's going to be such a disparity. And I think that's why you asked the question, because
Wow.
it's going to be night and day. It's going to be apples to oranges, no pun intended. But I think, that's a very hard question for me. Richard Simmons always said, people aren't overweight because they eat a wide variety of food. They're overweight because they overeat a certain type of food. And he's right. But I think I always say this. God forbid if I was ever on death row, this will answer your question. If I was ever on death row and they said, Mario, you're getting executed tonight. Yeah, one last meal. What do you want? I'd say, hot dogs and donuts.
Wow.
And
They could actually put the donuts whole
No,
right through
no,
the-
no.
the
Listen,
hot dogs.
Listen, you would think being Italian, I was going to say pizza, I was gonna say spaghetti, ravioli. What? And my heart is filled with all of those dishes. But if you're going to push me, and if you're going to even push me to hot dogs or donuts, I will take a donut over any conventional food, anytime, any place.
Wow. Well, there is a disparity there, dear champ. So I'm a rare steak lover. The bloodier, the better. However, I love salmon over a salad. Is my go-to. It's been my go-to. When I was bulking up, then it was steak and all that. But I love salmon. I eat salmon or some kind of fish every day.
That's Roma.
So there you have it.
That's why Roma looked like Roma and Mancini looked like Mancini.
That's all right.
Because he was eating salmon over salads and I was
maybe
eating donuts.
Maybe I wish that I was eating the donuts. I don't know.
I'm going to give this.
And hot dogs.
I'm going to give this true story to this fan because he deserves it. So we are at Quest at the wrestling school. Okay, we have a show in Trumbull, Connecticut. Okay, in Trumbull, Connecticut. So from Orange to Trumbull, I don't know, 25 minutes.
Yeah, maybe.
Orange to Trumbull, 20.
Yeah.
So me and Larry Finnegan, I was in Larry Finnegan's big blue Scooby-Doo van. He's going down the Boston Post Road in Milford. It's about 3:00 in the afternoon. We're gonna go to the gig. It's like 3 or 4 o'clock. And on Boston Post Road, it's a true story. On the Boston Post Road's at Dunkin' Donuts, and back in the day, Dunkin' Donuts was a different animal. I mean, if I went on the road with somebody, and say I went to Maine with somebody, say I went to Maine with Roma, and we came back, and my car was at the wrestling school, I would get in my car at 2:30 in the morning, 3:00 in the morning at the wrestling school, and go home. I lived in Milford. So I'd go all the way down the Post Road to catch the highway to get off of exit 34. And as I would, you'd get a big waft of Dunkin' Donuts because they were baking the donuts, right? It was a different animal back then. They all baked them in the store.
Yeah.
So now Larry and I are in his van, and I see the Dunkin' Donuts up at the distance. I go, Larry, let's go to Dunkin' Donuts. No. And Larry was like, I'd say Larry was 6'3", 380. I go, he was Crusher Finnegan. So I go, Larry, let's go to Dunkin' Donuts. He's like, no. And he's getting closer. I go, Larry, it's getting closer. He goes, no. I go, Larry, you're going to miss the driveway. He goes, pulls into Dunkin' Donuts. We both got a dozen donuts apiece. And they were gone by the time we got to Trumbull. And it was like 4:30. And I wasn't out there until like 9 o'clock. I ate the whole dozen donuts. And I worked that night, and I was fine. Now, don't ask me about Chinese food in the New Haven Coliseum when Roma made me throw up. I wasn't wrestling anybody that was going to make me throw up. So,
little did he know.
yeah, but Roma made me throw up in front of 8,000
Bad
in
move.
front of 8,000
Eating
people.
half a Chinese menu.
I didn't know I was working. I came to see the chief, and you always bring your bag, but I wasn't working. It was full. And I looked at Strongbow at about 6 o'clock because bell time back then was 8. And I go, hey, Chief, I'm hungry. I'm going to go out and get something to eat. You want me? Where are you going? I go, Chinese. You want me to bring you back anything? Or no, I'm okay, kid. So I ate like $20 worth of Chinese food, which back in 1980.
Back then, it's half a menu.
Back in 85 is a lot of Chinese food.
Yeah.
And I came back, and Chief goes, oh, you took long enough. I go, Chief, what are you talking about? I'm not working tonight. No, I need you. I go, okay. Who am I working with? Roma.
This guy.
I go, now I'm 19 years old. Now I'm going to be 58 next month. I'm 19 years old. And I go, oh, I'm working with my brother. I'm working with Roma. I'm working with Roma. Night off. I'm working with Roma. So I walk into the dressing room bag, getting ready to change. And I go, Roma, just one thing. I'm so full, man. I just ate a ton of Chinese
Yeah.
food. He
How
goes,
much did you eat? Half the menu.
he goes, well, this is what Roma does. He might have had what do they call it? A backwoods smokes, those little tiny cigar looking things. He might have had that in his mouth because he was like Clint Eastwood. He goes, you have two choices. I go, what's that? He goes, you can either go into the bathroom, stick your finger down your throat and get rid of it, or I'm going to make you get rid of it out there. And I went,
I didn't have a smoke, but whatever.
and I just shrugged it off. Well, you know, I'm the heel because Roma's over like bombshells as a baby face and the way he looked and everything. It was like, you know what? It was like a Greek god against Baby Huey. So I have to be the freaking heel. So I go in there and the bell rings and he starts crisscrossing
That's running across the ring.
one way, and I have to.
And
Now
he has
I
to run
can't
the other
stand
way.
there. I have to run the other way. And here's the worst part: I'm working with Paul Roma, so I can't drop down. What am I going to do when I drop down? Get back up and it'll duck a clothesline, right? He's the one that's got to drop down. Why? Why? Because after he drops down and I hit the other rope, he does the leapfrog, then hits me with the drop kick. So he's crisscrossing. He's not stopping. I'm going in my mind because Lord knows I can't. I'm gonna kill him. I can't though. I'm physically unable to do that to Paul Roma. So he finally drops down. Right, I go over him. He leapfrogs me, drop kicks me. I take a powder. I go out of the ring onto the floor. I lift up the ring apron, stick my head under the ring and go, Roman's breaking the 10 count about 3 times. I wiped my mouth with the ring apron. I went back in. We had a great match. And I went back there and, Strongbow walked down the hallway with me with his arm around me and he went, Mr. Mancini. Another show, we'll get into why he called me that for 28 years, Mr. Mancini. He goes, very unfair for the ring crew to have to clean that up. So after they take down the ring, you will clean that up, right? And I said, yes, Chief, I will. He goes, thanks. I mean, I went out there with a roll of paper towels, a bucket, and hot water. I was scooping up lo mein, broccoli, chicken, fortune cookies.
Did I lie? Half the menu. I just think I did him a favor. I got all that bad stuff out of the system.
Roma.
Well, look, it's been a great show. Really appreciate all you fans.
We really do.
Mancini's Maniacs, Roman Nation. Thank you all. You're what makes this possible. I want to bring Stephen Lee on next show. Want to talk to him some more, and maybe we'll bring somebody else on top of that. But that being said, thank you very much from us to you. We love you. We appreciate you, and we will see